Hello and welcome to another topic from chapter 2, that is the topic on demand. In today's session, you learn about the meaning of demand and the demand curve, and then the demand function and the law of demand. What is demand? The quantity of a commodity that a consumer is willing to buy and able to afford given prices of goods and consumers' tastes and preferences is called demand. Quantity of a commodity, how many you want to buy, how many are willing to buy, and how many you afford to buy. Willing because you want it, afford because you have the money. And to buy any given quantity of commodity, you must know the price or prices of those goods. And you must have a taste and preference over that good. You don't buy things that you don't like. So you want to buy things that you have good taste over it, you prefer it over the other. If you like mangoes, you buy mangoes because that's your preference. You have good taste on that. But you must know the price. Not it. You know the price you want to buy, you are willing to buy. So you go to the market and afford to buy and have the money to buy. So how many you can buy given the price, that's demand. You may want to buy things, you are willing to buy things, but if you have no power to buy, if you can't afford to buy, then that's not demand. That should be kept in mind. We have so many things that we want to buy, we are willing to buy, but we can't afford, that's not demand. Only when you are wanting to buy and have the ability to buy, then that's demand. So anytime you go and buy things from the market, from the shop, and you pay for it in return for your money, that's demand. So demand depends on many factors. It depends on the price, it depends on the income you have, it depends on the taste, it depends on preferences. Whenever one or more of these variables, all those factors are variables, they keep on changing. The price keeps on changing, your taste changing, your preference changing, your income changing, not it? So these variables that determine how many you want to buy, they change. So the quantity that you want to buy also changes with respect to the change in the variable. Okay, but while studying demand, here, even though there are many variables, many factors, but we'll try to keep some of those factors as constant, remaining the same, and then we'll try to explain demand only with respect to price. So that when you go and buy things, you need to know the price, and with the response of the with the condition existing price, then you respond to how many you buy, what is your demand. Okay, so if the prices of the goods that you want to buy, if your the income in your pocket, if your taste, if your preference remain unchanged, if they don't change, then the amount that you actually chooses depends on price. So when you buy things, let's say you have the amount of money, you have the same taste, you have the same preference, they don't change. So how many you want to buy, what's your demand, it entirely depends on price. So the relation between the consumer's optimal choice and the quantity of goods and its price is the demand function. Demand, let's say demand is X, is a function, it depends on the price of X. If you want to buy mango, you need to know the price of mango. If you want to D the X, you need to know the P of X. But you also need to know the price of related products. You want to buy mango, you need to know the price of mango, but you need to also know the price of other fruits that you like next to the one that we are talking about, mango. You may like apples, you may like bananas. You need to compare the price so that at times when their prices are cheaper than that of apples, then you tend to go for them. But at the present, we say this price of related products remain unchanged. Your income is a variable; it keeps on changing. Sometimes you have more money, sometimes you have less money. It determines how many you demand. Demand depends also on your income, but let's at the moment say your income remains the same. The amount of your that you have in your pocket remains the same. Your taste the same, your habit the same, the preferences the same. So let's keep all other so many factors determining demand as constant remain unchanged. Then we can explain demand with respect to price. Let's see what's the change of this variable price and how you will react to it. So demand depends on price. So price is the function that determine demand. So even though there are so many factors that influence how many you buy, what you buy, but let's say at the moment to explain demand, let's say demand depends on price. It only You only need to look at the price of the product. Okay, so that's the demand function. This is what we call the demand function. Function. Demand depends on many functions, but if they are constant, then demand depends on price. Price is a function that determines demand. Okay, so that is the case. If you know what is the price, price is a variable. It keeps on changing. Sometimes it rises, sometimes it falls. So the change in price will determine the quantity that you buy, how many you will buy. Suppose the price is at P2, say 10 rupees. How many you buy? You buy 5, for example. 10 rupees, you buy 5. 5 apples. But if the price falls down from P2 to P, say it falls from 10 to 8, it's it has become cheaper, then with that same amount of y that you have in your pocket, the income that remains unchanged, you are able to buy more. So the price falls from 10 to 8. Now you are able to buy from 5 say to 10. So the income increases due to the fall in price. If the price keeps on falling from P to P1, say from 10 to 8 to 6, then you are able to buy more from 5 to 10 to 15, from 0 ON to ON1. So if you see these points on the coordinate, you join this point, you get this curve. This is what we call the demand curve. Demand depends on price. High price, you buy less. But if the price keeps on falling, you tend to buy more and more and more. So demand, the demand curve shapes like this. It slopes downward from the left to the right. So the consumer's demand for a good as a function of its price written as X is called FP like we have said. X is the quantity. Sometimes you write D, sometimes you write Q, and P denotes the price. So you can represent graphically, you know the meaning of demand, you know the functions of demand, you can also graphically represent the demand function in the and as a demand curve. Graphically means as a graph. This is a graph, it's not it? Price on one side, demand on the other side. Graphically, you get this curve. This is the demand curve. And when you look at this demand curve, what do you find? You find the relationship between demand and the price. You buy knowing the price. When the price is high, you buy less. When the price is low, you buy more. So in that case, because the relationship is opposite, inverse, that curve that slopes downward from the left to the right, it's of negative slope. This curve, which slopes downward from the left to the right, it does not rise like that or shape straight or any other shape, but it falls down from the top left to the right. This is negative slope. And by negative slope, it shows the negative relationship between price and demand. Negative means like no opposite. High price, low demand, low price, high demand. Okay, so that's about the demand curve. And knowing the demand and the demand curve, that is the case for an individual. It may be a case of you. How do you react to the change in the price of apples? High price of the apple, you buy less. Low price of apples, you buy more. That's the opposite relationship. But that is only for the case of one individual. But for a commodity, there are many individuals in the market. In the market, there are many individuals. So if each has his own way of demand, all over the market, if you add together, you'll get the demand curve. So what is the demand curve of the market? The market or the market demand. The market demand means combined together for a good, for apple, for example, at any particular price is the total demand of all consumers taken together. You add all the consumers. The market demand for a good can be derived from the individual demand curve. Suppose this is the curve we got earlier. If this is the price, they'll demand high price, you'll demand this much. Price falls down, you demand more. This is for one individual, the individual A. Suppose in the market there are two individuals. Another individual, if this is the price, he'll buy this much. Lower price, same price. Price has fallen down the same way for A and B, but this individual does not buy more as the first case. The first individual, he actually buys more, but he's buying, but not much as the fallen price. So his curve is a bit steep. So this is individual one, this is individual two, but in the market, suppose there are individual two individuals, you can add them together, you'll get this as the market demand curve. This is the market demand curve. Same price you add together. This price Q1 dash and Q2 dash, you get this. You add together this one and this one for price, the first price. But when the price pick up, falls down, for an individual he buys this much, second individual this much, so you add together, you get the market demand curve. And so it's like simply adding up the demand of two individuals, two consumers at that price. Okay, but if you know the curve, if you don't know the figure, you can also graphically from the graph you can add this curve horizontally, this way, that side, from the left to the right. And by adding these two curves, it's called the horizontal summation. You sum together these curves horizontally. That's how you can also do to find the market demand curve. So let's look at another example of this individual demand curve, market demand curve in terms of figure. Suppose this is the price prevailing. It keeps on falling from 10 to 8 to 6 to 4. This is the price of apples, for example. So if this is the fallen price of the apples, for consumer 1, what he'll react is if the price is 10, he'll buy only 3 because it's high price. He'll buy less. Price falls, he'll keep buying more, 4. Price falls to 6, he'll buy 5 apples. Price falls to 4, he'll buy more, 6 apples. So this is one individual. So if you plot this in the graph, price this side 10, 8, 6, and 4, and the demand is 3, 4, 5, 6. If you plot this, you'll get the coordinate. You join this coordinate 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll get this red curve D1, which is the demand curve for the individual. High price buy less, low price buy more. That is for the individual 1. But in the market, there are many individuals. Suppose there are 3. But for consumer 2 at the same price 10, he doesn't buy 3, buy 6. So 6, price falls to 8, he'll buy 8. Price falls to 6, he'll buy 10. Price falls to 4, he'll buy 12. So price 10, he'll buy 6. 6. But price 8, he'll buy 8. Price 8, he'll buy 8. For example, price 6, he'll buy 10. and price fall here by 12, you'll get this blue demand curve for individual 2. Individual 3, price 10, he'll buy 8. Price 8, he'll buy 10, he'll buy more. Price 6, he'll buy 12, buy more. Price 4, 14. So you'll get this curve. But if you add together 3 plus 6 plus 8 at the price of 10, then all individual in the market they demand 17. 3 plus 6 plus 8 is 17. So at the price 10, the market will buy overall will that means the demand of the individual will be 17. So at the price 10, this will be the point. This will be the point here, 17. At the price of 8, if you add together these three individuals, they'll buy 22. At the price of 8, they'll buy more. The market will also buy more because there are three individuals. At price 6, you'll buy individual, they'll buy separately, but together 5 plus 10 plus 12, 27. At price 6, 27 will be the demand of the market. And at price 4, demand for 1 is 6, 2 is 12, 3 is 14. Add together 6, 12, 14 is 32. So if you plot these coordinates here, you'll get this green curve. This is the market demand curve. So you can find the market demand from the individual consumer demand. Add together. It's not it. You'll get the demand, the market demand of apples. Or secondly, if you know the demand curve, you don't know this table, you know the demand curve of individuals, you can lateral summation, horizontal summation this. You can add the distance like geometry, add this distance and this distance, you'll get this distance for 10, this price, say P4. P3, you'll add this point on the curve, and this point on the curve, and this point on the curve, you'll get the distance here, which is another point on price P3, which is 8 in our example. But you don't know 8 or 6 because if it is only a graph, we can graphically add these horizontally. So you'll get these points by adding the individual point from each respective price. So in that way, you can add these laterally, horizontally, you'll get the point on the market, which is the market demand curve. Okay, so market demand curve is simply adding individual demand curve. So from here, from demand, you know now the demand curve, the market demand curve, you know the demand function. There is one law that we need to look at, and that law has a statement, and you have to remember this statement. Other things being equal means other remains the same. That means other remain constant. That means the price of other related products remains constant. The amount of income is constant. Taste, preference, habits, and advertisement, all those remains the same. They don't change. If you study only the change of price to the demand, then there is a negative relationship we have seen. Negative means fall of price, increase in demand. Price falls, increase in demand. That's the opposite. That's negative relationship. So there is a negative relation between demand for commodity and its price. That is the law of demand. What is the law of demand? Other things remain being equal. There is a negative relationship between demand of a commodity for commodity and its price. Meaning, if other remains unchanged, they remain constant, then we look only at price and demand. There is negative relationship. There is inverse relationship. Okay, so when price increases, demand falls. So when price, if you start from here, price increase from 4 to 6, demand will fall from 6 to 5, market demand will fall from 32 to 27. If you start from here, price increase 6 to 8, demand will fall from 27 to 22. It will fall. Or in the other hand, what we've seen is that price decrease, demand rises. If the price decrease from 10 to 8 to 6 to 4, demand will increase for individual 1, for individual 2, for individual 3, and the market demand will also increase. Because it has become cheaper, people would buy more. That's why we have a negative relationship. Okay, so that's the law of demand. Remember that statement. Remember the shape of the curve. The shape of the curve implies negative relationship between these two, demand and its price. Okay, so before we stop, let's look at this one point, that is a linear demand. A linear demand is the demand which is, if you represent graphically, a curve which is a straight line. Linear means a line which is straight, not it? So we have seen earlier that the demand curve is a curve. It's a curve, it's not a straight line. Demand is a curve. But what if demand is a straight line? If demand is a straight line, then its function, its relation, its um, we can say formula is the same as the formula of a straight line. A straight line has a formula. So if the demand curve is a straight line, then it is similar to the formula of a straight line. Y is equal a minus bx. That is. So this is the formula of the demand curve if it is a straight line. That is, Q is equal a minus bp. Q, which is demand. Demand, Q is demand, A is a constant, B is another constant, which is also the slope, and P is the price. Okay, so if demand is a straight line, then demand function is demand is equal A minus BP. That is, if the price is not equal to 0. If the price is equal to 0, that means that the price is positive. If the price is 1 rupee, 2 rupees, 3 rupees, 4 rupees, and so on, but not 0. The price is not 0, then demand is A minus BP as a straight line. And the price also should not be more than A minus B. A by B, I mean to say. But if the price is more than A by B, then the demand is 0. That means you don't demand. Okay, so A is a vertical intercept. A, which is here, is a vertical intercept. Minus B, which is in the formula minus BP. Minus B itself shows the slope, because the slope can be this, can be this, can be this, different slope. That minus B will indicate the slope. Okay, so at price 0, when this is the price at price 0, no, 0 is equal to price, then the demand is A. When the price is O, you'll demand A. It can be 100, it can be 200. Price is 0, you'll demand A. But at price A by B, we'll see about that, then the demand is 0. You don't buy things if it is A by B. We have seen here, if the price is greater than by A by B, then you don't buy. So demand is equal to 0. Okay, slope of demand curve measures the rate at which demand changes with respect to price. So this different slopes of a curve at any point of it, it will measure how much is the change in demand due to the change in price. Let's take a look of this formula with the help of examples so that you'll understand it clearly, which is simply the case of linear demand. Okay, we talk about linear demand curve. So the formula, we say X is equal A minus BP. What is X or QD? Is a quantity demand. Earlier we also talked about that. X is a function of price. It's not the same thing. X is a function of price. But in a straight line, we say X or QD is a function of price, but there is A and B. So X is quantity, B is price. What is A and B? A is a constant, which is determined by non-price factor. It's not the price that determines how much you demand. P is the price, QD is demand, B, like we said, is another constant which indicates the slope. Okay, so if this is the demand function, if you give numerical example to it, suppose the demand function is Q is equal A 200 minus B P. This is the function of the demand. It's given. What does it mean by this? What is this? A is equal to 200, B is equal to 4. We will know this by, so to say, give value to the price. If the price is 20, for example, let's say price is 20, then how much you'll demand if the price is 20? The price is 20, then you'll demand 200, which is A, minus 4P. 4 into 20, 4P. P is 20. Now we get, if the price is 20, how much you'll buy If the price is 20, giving this constant, you'll buy 120 units. That is the point. Demand has a function. Demand like has a formula. But if it is linear, like a straight line, then this should be it. So if the price is zero, if price is zero, how much will demand? Earlier we have learned, if price is zero, if this price is zero, you'll demand A. So what is the example that we have given? What is the value of A? Is 200. So if the price is zero, you'll demand 200 A. That is the constant. It does not determine by the price. If the price is zero, then you'll determine maximum 200. If we take this example, and if the price is greater than A by B, then if this price is greater than A by B, A is 200, B is 4. So if the price is greater than A by B, means if the price is greater than 50, then you don't demand. Demand is zero. So these two, A by B, they are the intercept of this graph. Is that it? So that is the point of the linear demand curve. It indicates to you if the price is zero, how many you'll buy, and if the price is beyond your wish, A by B, means you don't buy anymore. There is a limit to demand, and you can show here, you can see from here, from the linear demand curve. Okay, so remember, this is strictly if the case of demand is linear. Linear demand function. Okay, so that's why demand curve is a straight line.